Okay, so when I say the word asana, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most of us, right, it's probably some super complex pretzel lake yoga pose we've seen scrolling through social media. We think of strength, flexibility, a killer workout. But we're going to dive into this because there is so much more to the story. And that's really the big question, isn't it? Is that what the ancient masters were talking about? Was the original idea behind asana just to nail a physical posture, or was it a tool for something much more profound? The answer might just change how you see your practice and maybe even your life. And here it is, the core of the whole thing. On one side, you've got the modern view. Asana is this dynamic physical workout. But on the other side, if you go way back to the ancient wisdom, specifically to the foundational text of yoga, Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, it's defined completely differently, as a steady and comfortable seat. So you see, it's not about movement. It's about achieving a specific state of being. To really get this, we have to go back to the source. Asana is actually the third of the 8 limbs of yoga, the Ashtanga, as laid out by the sage Patanjali. It's not the destination itself, not by a long shot. It's a crucial step on the path toward deeper states of meditation and awareness. The word itself, asana, literally just means a seat. And in the Yoga Sutras, it wasn't about a whole sequence of poses. Nope, it was about one thing and one thing only. Finding that perfect physical posture, that seat, that you could hold for meditation without getting distracted. But the idea gets even bigger. So yes, at its absolute core, asana is the meditation seat. But you can think of it in layers. It also includes the physical postures of Hatha Yoga that we're all familiar with today. It even applies to our everyday posture, how we sit at our desks. And on the deepest level, it's our spiritual attitude, our inner stance toward the world. So how did Patanjali define this perfect seat? Well, he gave us this beautifully simple formula in Sutra 246, sthira-sukham asanam. He said every true asana has to have 2 essential qualities, 2 pillars, sthira and sukham. The first pillar is sthira. This means stable, firm, steady. It's all about that quality of being grounded. So in meditation, this means sitting upright and being motionless. No fidgeting, no shifting around. It's that unwavering resolve in your posture. But here's the thing. Firmness by itself just leads to tension. That's why it has to be balanced with the second pillar, sukha. This means comfortable, easy, pleasant. It's that quality of release and relaxation inside the stability. Your shoulders are relaxed, your jaw is soft. This isn't about gritting your teeth and powering through. It's about finding a sense of calm, right there in the stillness. Okay, so we need to be both firm and at ease. Sounds great, but how do we actually do that? Well, Patanjali doesn't leave us hanging. In the very next verse, he gives us the exact instructions on how to master this state of unshakable stillness. And this is where it gets a little counterintuitive, because mastery doesn't come from more effort. It comes from, number 1, the relaxation of effort. You have to consciously let go of the tension. Just stop trying so hard. And 2, you shift your awareness away from your body completely, and you meditate on the infinite, on something vast and eternal. This quote just nails it. The perfection of the posture isn't a physical trophy you win, it's a mental one. The asana is perfect when your mind finally stops worrying about your achy knee or if your spine is straight enough and just becomes completely absorbed in something higher. Now, this physical stillness, it leads to a huge payoff. Mastering it unlocks a really profound kind of psychological resilience. Patanjali tells us it gives us freedom from the constant push and pull of life's opposites. He calls these the dvandva. It's the Sanskrit term for those pairs of opposites, the dualities that pretty much define our human experience. The Germans have a great word for it too, Naturgegensätze, or nature's opposites. So what are these opposites? Well, they're everything. Feeling too hot or too cold, experiencing pleasure or pain, getting praise from your boss or blame from a coworker, feeling totally energized one day and completely wiped out the next. Our lives are just this constant swing back and forth between these poles. And here is the incredible promise. Once you master asana, Patanjali says you become unassailed by these opposites. The German translation is just as powerful. Unangreifbar, which means unattackable. You're no longer at the mercy of all these shifting states. But how? It's not magic, it's training. by teaching yourself to sit still through all the little discomforts. A fly landing on your nose, a phone ringing in the other room, an annoying itch. You are literally rewiring your brain. You're breaking the chain of stimulus and automatic reaction. You learn to just observe a sensation without immediately needing to do something about it. There's this great story that really illustrates this whole idea of moving beyond duality. So there was a king, and he was traveling, like he always did, to go visit his guru. On his way, he falls into a pit and gets badly injured. He's in pain, he's frustrated, and as he's lying there, he's complaining, "Why would this happen to me? I was on my way to do something good." So from his point of view, this was a purely negative, totally bad event. But it took him days to recover at his guru's place, and when his minister finally showed up, the king learned the truth. A violent coup had happened back at the palace. If he hadn't been delayed by his disaster, he would have returned right on schedule, and he would have been killed. What he thought was bad was, in the grand scheme of things, the very thing that saved him. And this brings us to the final and I think the most important point. This whole practice isn't just about sitting on a cushion. It's about how you carry yourself through the world. It's about taking the principles of asana off the mat and into your life. This is the real heart of it all. Asana is ultimately your inner posture. It's your fundamental stance towards life. It is that cultivated ability to remain sthira, stable and firm, and sukha, comfortable and at ease, no matter what opposites life decides to throw your way. It's really about finding that unshakable center inside yourself, whether you're dealing with a compliment or a criticism, a big success or a tough failure. So the question this ancient wisdom leaves us with is a really modern and personal one. When life pushes you, how will you hold your seat?